The video you're watching is me looking at the original upload on the law enforcement website for the Delphi killings. Now we're looking at it graphically. We're not doing something here involving audio playback or anything. And I'm just going to switch really quickly over here. First of all, I've amplified it to where we almost get clipping on the audio here to force visually these four ticks, I'm going to call them. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to looking at it as a spectrogram just because it's kind of cool looking and all that, just so we can get that out of the way. Notice this, this, and this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you're not noticing what the spectrogram is showing, it's showing that the entire spectrum, the audio spectrum, just about above, let's say, 750 cycles per second, is equally distributed with noise. This is the voice portion here, where it says down the hill. Down the hill, down the hill, down the hill, and a bunch of other noises, mostly in the low frequency range, that sound almost like a train going by. I haven't been told what's causing that. Now we're going to go ahead and just zoom in on one part of it. Obviously, it's very, very dynamically changed here to make it very visible on the screen. This is not the audio file as it was originally done, but this is also called Delphi male voice loop 3 times over, or 3x, and it's also a WAV file. WAV files have different characteristics than MP3 files. MP3 files compress things psychoacoustically, which means you lose data. I'm also going to bring up the fact that some people are using the original press conference with the police for the audio, which means you're hearing it through speakers that are then recording through microphones that are then being broadcast and compressed again. That's not how we do audio. So this is, because it's a WAV file, possibly the cleanest audio we can get. And what we see is a very stereotypical short duration snap. The duration of it, let's see here, length is wow, it's very, very short. It's extremely short duration. This is a popping noise from editing. Now that noise, while it's going to be done obviously for editing purposes, you're going to have a clicking noise to indicate, when the edit happens. What that means is if you listen to the WAV file or the MP3 file from the beginning, this entire section here is a repeat. This here is the actual audio recording of Down the Hill. And it occurs right in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and click the spectrogram again. And we see that that tick, which is the entire spectrum, almost like a square wave, but it's actually a slew, is noise. We hear a lot of background bass noise that goes kind of pulsing through that you can only understand from hearing it. And that noise has not been explained to anybody, or anybody has explained that I can find anywhere. People who bring it up on Reddit talk about how it must indicate XYZ outcome, but they don't talk about whether or not this is really and truly a part of the recording or an aspect of them trying to do data recovery, because rhythmic patterns in a badly recovered information or audio file from, let's say, a NAND flash off of a cell phone might create that kind of an artifact. But anyway, this is the actual duration of the audio here, which is 1.532 seconds. That's the entire audio recording down the hill, just about. 1.5 seconds down the hill, about the time you can say that. And there's our wave shapes, and we hear this puttering in the background. Now I'm going to bring up this here. Let's do this section arbitrarily, and let's try to zoom in on it. Now each of these individual lines is a waveform that's at a somewhat lower frequency with little bits of noise on the top of it that are high frequency. And analyzing that might give us something useful as far as data. But unfortunately, that's not what this video is about. The audio recording, the original one that was put up to loop the audio, did a very poor job adding in that loud tick. Any audio recording analysis that didn't go through and get rid of that would be subject to it causing peak levels to be taken into account that don't belong in the recording. I mean, that's an extremely high intensity spike. So, and again, I've jacked up the volume level here to graphically show it. Now, what you would be encouraged to do, because it's not part of the audio that is incredibly significant, except for the loudness and the interruption of it, is to get rid of it by looking for any zero crossing point like that, find another zero crossing point like, let's say, with the same angle, like going uphill here and going uphill here, and highlighting it and then hitting delete and chunking it together to get rid of that spike so that it doesn't interfere with audio analysis software, because the audio analysis software is going to look at this spike and adapt to it. I don't know if anybody has done a video explaining that. The next thing is we're going to look at the audio recording that was released. This is the 2017 original version. And again, this is what was played through the speakers with all the noise in it. They didn't clean up any of the noise to get it to where you could understand the person's voice better. But again, the audio recording on the web page starts in the middle of the recording and loops from there, which is a little weird. This entire front section here from that edit should be removed. Also, I don't like the fact that there is literally a bunch of audio and video data we haven't been given. Again, I'm going to complain about that till I'm blue in the face. Now, the next part of this video, we're going to look at the other recording that was made that is of the newer video recording, or newer audio recording. Now, the first thing you'll notice when we do this is this one's been released in stereo, which is unnecessary. It now has the word guys over here included, and now we have the audio much lower intensity, and apparently this is done relative to this one, which means this audio recording may have been made closer. Also significant in 2019 is this is an attempt primarily for people to be able to get an audio recording to where they could try to identify a person's voice, so it is cleaned up heavily. And it includes, again, guys, which is over there much louder. Now, this has caused a lot of confusion with people trying to figure out what it means. It should be noted that right here it's almost completely silent. That's because they did a good job, quote unquote, cleaning up the noise. So let's look at the word guys. It doesn't have that noise in it, or it never did. We don't know. I need the raw audio. Again, the raw data file. Next, that's a very significant question. From the sound of it, it doesn't sound like they did the same almost distortion-inducing noise cleanup they did for the words down the hill with the previous sounds in it. The other thing is, because they killed off all the noise, why did they include the background noise for context when they killed it off? A lot of silly questions on my part, I understand. But yeah, it does sound very different. It looks very different. Now we're going to look at the spectrum of this. Now, normally when you clean up voice, what you're chopping is you're cutting off audio above and below a certain frequency range. And in the interim between guys and down the hill, we have a noise figure that's in the high frequency because they killed off the low frequency. Well, yeah, because the previous audio recording had a lot of audio that was in the low frequency range. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So let's do something here real quickly. I'm going to take the entire audio recording and I'm going to hit Effects, Amplify, and just whatever it says. It's usually based on the peak capability. Hitting OK. Do we see any hard spikes? A few. Let's look into that. And I haven't looked at this before, so I don't know what I'm getting into. Does that look like an edit spike? No, it doesn't. I'm just telling you it doesn't look like one. Okay, let's look at this part. That part might be an edit spike. That's all. So that one there might be an editing spike. Let's look at that with a spectrogram, if it can even give us one. It doesn't cover the entire audio range. But then again, this is, if you edited and then ran it through a filter, you wouldn't be able to see any spikes because the audio filter would clean it up. So we are seeing a heavily modified audio recording here. Guys and noise, and then down the hill with hot spots here. And they seem to have put it together. Did they put it together with the edit in the middle cleaned up? Or is this the audio recording it should be? Well, the length in this one is a different length. Some people have commented on Reddit and that sort of thing, that this appears to be time stretched. Again, now I know I'm banging the dumb drum here, and it's my own dumb drum, but it is a bit over the top irritating that the audio recording is not released, strictly speaking, in raw audio format. It doesn't make sense for it to do that. It's evidence. And if you're attempting to hear a person's voice and identify the person, unless they explain what seems to be either it being stretched or compressed, and why would they leave the noise in it if they're going to just get rid of the noise as much as possible? If it's to identify a person by voice or try to figure out something, the raw audio recording with that edit that's weird in the middle with clickings seems a little odd. Seems a little bit... I don't know here. If anybody has any information or clues, that'd be great. Warning, please do not point me at YouTube channels that have claimed to figure this out. I'm not kidding about that, because a large number of them seem to depend on not ever being asked a question. So I'm at a loss, number one, of how to clean this up better. Number two, if it should be cleaned up. And number three, trying to figure out why the audio was done this way at all. A college grade student in audio engineering wouldn't dump this stuff the way it was done. And also, I want to point out that the original audio recording, like I had up before, has essentially been deleted from the website. That's the raw audio recording. And it had a bunch of noises in the background that were cyclic, like a person walking, moving, or maybe swaying back and forth and it rubbing the microphone. I don't know what was causing this. And nobody has addressed the rhythmic noise in the background, the editing clicks, or anything else. I don't think I can be the first person to do that. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And I don't have anything more to add except that you can get out of archive.org the original files, and I made sure there's a newer archive just to check if there's any differences. Good day. Oh, and yeah, law enforcement website really did delete the original audio file. Bye.